to get powered up. You are watching Power Up. This is a weekly show that Trisha Hirschberger and I decided to do and start about a month ago now. So happy anniversary to us. We're still together. So excited about it. But Power Up stands for playing, watching, reading. And obviously during lockdown, we are doing a bunch of all of those. So this Power Up is all about sharing what you are currently playing, watching, and reading. Do so in the chat. You're either watching live on Trisha Hirschberger's Twitch channel, or you're watching this on Geek Bomb's VODs, or you're listening to the podcast, whatever, however, wherever you're consuming this. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We have a rad guest. I have known our guest. Were you still a teenager? You were, since she was 18 years of age.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Australia is a small country.
All right, we're bringing in Alanah.
What's up, Alanah?
Alanah Pearce, you guys know, she started off in IGN in a big way. She moved over to Funhouse. She does amazing things in the gaming space. Really, really great to have you on board here. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You know, doing all right, doing the best we can. Not allowed to go anywhere, but playing a lot of video games.
That's what we want to talk about, and that's what Power Up is all about. I also like the fact that we're now evenly split with Aussies and Americans.
Yeah, true.
We totally are. Pretty soon you'll outnumber us, and that'll be fantastic. So I need to hear this story about how you guys have known each other for so long, because Alanah, I didn't actually meet you until you were working at IGN, and at that point you were in San Francisco, and I think we only met in passing. Like, I was there for the day. I want to say... correct me on my timing here, but I want to say it was 2016, and because I think I was there telling Brian and Max I was pregnant. I think I just stopped by the office to be like, yo, what up, I'm pregnant. And I think I met you in passing that day, but we didn't actually get to hang out. Were you at IGN in 2016?
Yes. I think I started 2015. So yeah, I've only been in the US for 5 years. So it would make sense that we met in the last 5 years.
Yes.
But I've been in the games industry in total. I mean, if you count me working for free and literally volunteering, it's been 9 years, which is how I know Maude.
Yeah,
game
back to one of my first memories of Alanah. We were doing an event for EA Games. I believe it was one of the Medal of Honors or the... What was it? They basically thought it would be really, really fun to put game reviewers through an actual army course and army training. And didn't they call me Barbie or some shit? And I was just like, don't do that.
That was such a weird event. I got a tick in the back of my neck and had to get it surgically removed.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a tick in the back of my neck that I found because part of that, which was actually pretty cool, was we had to do sniper training. So we're going through these woods with like hacksaws and shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
So we're going through these woods with like hacksaws, and you have to like break trees to try and find a sniper, and then you would have to walkie-talkie someone and be like, or it was whoever your target was, maybe. You have to be like, I can see him. Yeah, he'd hold up like a number, and if he could see you when you could see him, you'd failed. But if you could report his number without him seeing you from wherever you are in this giant bush, then you had effectively avoided him or shot him or whatever the theory was. But yeah, during that weird bush part, I got a tick in the back of my neck. And I only realized that night when I was scratching the back of my neck. And I was like, what's that? And then I pulled it and it was half a tick. But it was so deep in that they had to cut it out with a scalpel. And EA PR was like, what have we done? But it was fine. Got rid of it. Everything was okay.
You liked that because I couldn't stand... I liked doing the like go camouflage, and I liked doing the, we raided a particular room, like during a training session. The sniper one sucked. I realized really quickly I couldn't army crawl. I didn't have enough upper body strength to pull myself along the ground. And every time that I tried to move, like I would just have a bush and like... what are they called? Branches just ripped my face apart.
A lot of cuts.
I hated it. So I just kind of like sank into the ground and stayed there. And I think I'm the reason why the whole event went like an hour late, because I just refused to move and I refused to participate in it all. Bobby,
I'm pretty sure I won.
Bobby, come in and do it, Bobby. What's the number? And I was like, is it 7? I don't know.
So wait, what kind of event was this again? This was for games.
It was the Medal of Honor.
I did a vlog.
An actual military base.
Yeah.
They made us jump off of a boat in the Sydney Harbor right in the morning. One of the girls on the boat had her period and was like, you can't just make me jump in water. What am I going to do? And they were like, too bad, get off. We were like, what?
But they immediately treated us like we were in the army. And like,
yeah.
I do not respond well to being called Barbie and being yelled at when I didn't really sign up for it. Like, if
it was weird.
For the army, it's like you're signing up for the experience.
They called me Asthma. That was the nickname they gave me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because I can't run.
Inhaler.
Yeah, because I had an asthma attack when we were supposed to be doing drills.
Yeah. So you were
it was a weird event. Yep.
How long did you have to like train in the army for?
Oh, it was just a half-day event.
Yeah, maybe like 5 hours.
They took us through 3 particular drills, and one of them was fine, and one of them, like the sniper one, I was just furious. I gave up.
Okay, 2 more questions. Were you expected to create content from this event, and if so, where can we find it online?
I'm pretty sure I may have deleted all, like, a bunch of videos that I did in the early stages of Geek Bomb because the quality was just terrible. But
I think that the intent was we did all that stuff and then we'd play the game, and the idea was that we would cover it. I think I did on the radio. I was on a radio show in Brisbane, so I think that I spoke about it there. But I think EA had the footage and used it on like Facebook ads or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was weird.
And I also appeared when I was in Brisbane back home for a chunk of time. You were like, come on the radio show. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's fine. That show's still going. Shout out to Zed Games.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That is so cool. So, Alanah, how does one get started in their teenage years working on the radio? How did that happen for you?
So I wasn't, maybe I would have been. I probably would have been 18 when I started working on the radio. I mean, I started as a writer, just completely volunteering for tiny websites no one's ever heard of, which happened just because I've always loved writing and I've always loved video games. So at a certain point, it occurred to me that I could pair the two of them. So I was a freelance writer for, I think, 2 years before I started doing freelance video hosting. Sorry, not freelance. I keep saying freelance. That came eventually, but it was literally for free volunteer work. And then I slowly, this is the truncated version, worked my way up to getting paid. The radio thing came in a really similar way. It was like, at first I started doing it for free because I just really wanted to. I was like, I've hosted this stuff. I've written this stuff. I've worked for these people. Let me do this, please. And I found, I was going to actually pitch it to the community radio. But then I found a show that already existed in Brisbane, which wasn't too far from my home. So I started working for them for free before we finally got a government grant, and I started getting paid for that. So my entire career has been a series of, I will do this thing for free until I have the experience or feel confident enough with my skills that I can actually pitch it on a professional level. And that's what I've done pretty much every step of the way.
The version as well that Alanah is probably not going to tell you, but she definitely experienced in Australia, is that the gaming industry is so small that if anyone who's a little bit more established feels threatened by you, and people who had just kind of like entered the arena and the space and felt that their position was really hard to come by and they didn't want to lose it, someone who's 18 or 19 who's like super about this and wanting to do a lot in the space, and if that attitude kind of rubs someone the wrong way, they could really easily make it very, very difficult for you to succeed in Australia.
Oh, they tried, but they failed.
Yeah. There's a reason why Alanah and I are both in America, by the way, guys.
Yeah, the Australian industry's tiny. Some amazing stuff. I mean, I'm so proud of the Australian game dev scene. Like, the games we make in Australia are incredible. I mean, House recently just cleaned up with Untitled Goose Game. That's an entirely Melbourne-based team. So, or maybe they're Sydney, but I'm pretty sure they're definitely Australian either way. Australia, yeah, a lot of great games. Yeah, the industry itself on the media side is just so tiny.
Yeah,
that things definitely felt dramatic compared to the US industry, which is way bigger. And I've not had any drama at all.
Mate, I'm
with
a
anyone.
And there has been no beef. No beef.
It's so nice.
Wait, are you both being sarcastic, or has there legit been no beef since you got here?
No, none. Literally none.
The difference between what would happen in Sydney and what would happen here is night and day. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
I think in Sydney, people were kind of waiting for you to put a toe wrong so that they could cut you down, or so they could be like, see, they're a fraud, or they don't deserve to be here, and I'm so great, and this is why I should be doing it.
Is tall poppy syndrome a thing in the US, or is that just in Australia? Do you guys know what tall poppy syndrome is, Amy and Trisha?
No.
So it's basically when it's an Australian cultural thing. I think it kind of happens in the UK too, where basically if someone gets too big or is too successful, everyone else in Australia just fucking hates them. It's this like huge problem that we have with anytime someone has any success, you have to try to tear them down. Where we love an underdog. but no one can ever stay an underdog forever.
The poppy is a flower where they obviously like grow tall to reach the sun, but like a lot of the time in poppy fields, one will shoot up. So the whole tall poppy thing is, it's like if you grow too tall, the rest of you have to cut them down to be with everyone else. And a lot of the time in Australia, people did not like my success. So if I got a job, people would be mad because it was me and not them, but they actually probably didn't have any experience or weren't the right fit for it. And I remember
didn't apply. I had that. Yeah, someone didn't apply for something and got mad that I got it. And I was like, I literally submitted an application.
I remember when I was at Nickelodeon and I was telling a friend, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to move on. I don't know if I'll do it anymore. And she's like, can I have your job? And I was like, whoa, that's not how it works. And they were like mad at me that I didn't give them like I was giving a gift out of my pocket, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That it's so different based on location, because I mean, I know, and Maude and I have talked about this before, but Alanah, I'm sure you can probably vouch for this too. Every now and then you run into a person that I feel like is incredibly competitive about their career and is maybe interested in like starting some drama on the side or something like that. But at least in my experience, it has been incredibly rare. And I find that a lot more of the people I work with are like the relationship that I have with Maude or you, Alanah, where it's like, we're all very different. If someone is looking for like the face of a show or something like that, there's a very different show between a Trisha Hirschberger gaming show, an Alanah Pearce gaming show, a Maude Garrett show, you know? And it just depends what kind of show they want to produce. It's nothing personal against any of us. You know,
I would always just celebrate people
for your show or it's not
getting an opportunity.
Oh, but the thing is though, Trish, you just named the fact that there were 4 different shows available. In Australia, there was one gaming show that was on TV. One. And a lot of like the host had been there for quite some time and they weren't going anytime soon. So there was just no work. So as soon as a job opened up, the job, it became, that's why it was so competitive. And I think that, you know, with all of these opportunities in LA, that's why it's all like, I don't think I'm the right fit for this one, but let me introduce to you a friend of mine who's absolutely going to crush it. And it is a lot more interchangeable because there are so many more options. And I think that that is, again, a huge reason why Alanah and I moved over here, because I was told by my agent to not talk about Star Wars anymore because it would actually eliminate 40% of the jobs available, because I would be a little bit more too geek to be mainstream.
What?
Nuts.
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, Alanah, when did you then decide to make the move?
I was technically a contractor, but a full-time contractor for a startup that was a Netflix type in Australia, hosting a daily gaming show. I was making a ton of money and really enjoyed it, but was not at all challenged. So ultimately, it was always part of my long-term goal to end up at IGN or GameSpot in the US, because I figured those were like the pinnacle of the games media career, which is what I've been pursuing. You know, I studied journalism and mass communication. So that was always like what I was heading towards. And it did maybe take me a little while to figure out that I had to move to the US to like really be at the forefront of the games industry or games media side of things. So when I was working at this particular job on TV in Australia, I was hosting for the radio at the same time, was writing for a couple of Australian magazines. I just sort of got to a point where I was like, this is it. There is nowhere further for me to go whatsoever in the Australian industry. So yeah, I actually finished the last 6 months of my degree in a California university so that I could meet people working in the California games industry, knowing I'd have to move to San Francisco probably. Did that, applied for the job that I applied at, did apply for one at IGN and at GameSpot, but GameSpot told me they couldn't afford my visa. IGN could, and it was probably a more fitting job anyway. So that's basically how that went down. It was a very structured plan. I was like, I will do exactly these things to get here, and I did. And it's crazy. I actually have this diary entry from maybe like 7 years ago. I have this diary that I've kept up to date with every now and then that says I'm going to get a job at IGN in San Francisco, and then I'm going to work for Rooster Teeth. And I did exactly that.
I think that's such an incredible thing to have, like a goal that is so tangible and it absolutely exists. Like the role is there, the companies are there, and you know, this is my goal and this is how I'm going to get there. And I envy the people that have that, because I don't know what my goal is.
I don't now either.
Just to keep working. I moved over to America with a job in radio, and I did radio for my first 2 years over here, and like was in the celebrity world and doing red carpets. And so like the shift for me has been really, really interesting, but I've never known where I'm going. and you can't really go somewhere if you don't have the direction. And I found that like my career has just hopped all over the place instead of just being like zoom. And I've had my best friend Alicia Malone. She's been the same, TCM, and she's now a host on TCM. And she's like, I just knew that every step that I had to take, I knew the direction that I was going. So I was never kind of taking any jobs or anything that wouldn't take me directly towards my goal. And her suggestion is to have a goal. And I'm like, my only goal is to work less, earn more, travel on someone else's dollar.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had that plan and then I executed the plan by the time I was 25, which now means I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do now? Because I expected it to take me a bit longer, but I was so driven towards it that it happened. But now I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing or what I want to do next or whatever. Happy with what I am doing, but it does feel weird to not have a goal now that I've achieved the ones that I had planned to. I'm just like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? Tell people what they can catch you in.
Well, I'm a producer at Funhouse, which is a Rooster Teeth brand where we make a bunch of dumb comedy gameplay videos. I also work with Inside Gaming, which was owned by Machinima originally. The Inside Gaming team left and made Funhouse, and then Rooster Teeth bought the leftovers of Inside Gaming when Machinima closed, so we now own Inside Gaming again. So that too, which is the media brand for Rooster Teeth now, after the No ended and wrapped up. So I work for both of those outlets, but also just do a bunch of stuff on my own. I have a podcast called Play, Watch, Listen, which is myself, Troy Baker, Austin Wintory, and Mike Bithell talking about games industry stuff all the time, and then just like a bunch of YouTube stream bullcrap that I do occasionally when I want to, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone should listen to Play, Watch, Listen, by the way. It's absolutely fantastic. And like the panel of people you've chosen are so well-rounded and so diverse that it's a must listen, in my opinion.
Thank you. Honestly, if nobody else listened to that show, I would still make it because A, I love that I get to hang out with those people for an hour or two every week, and B, I learn so much that I didn't know from them all the time that I'm like, I could just not even publish the show and I would still love listening to it.
Troy's one of the best storytellers I've ever come across. Like he's
so impassioned about everything. It's incredible. Yeah. Wonderful man.
We have a little segment now, though, called Blast from the Past, and we kind of go through each of the things in gaming, watching, and reading to figure out when something really, really big first came out this week-ish. So it's a blast from the past.
Oh,
Amy,
okay, I see.
Here to do that for us. Yeah, terribly described, but Amy will do it. Sorry.
That was good. Yeah, I'll be giving you guys three properties, one in each category. So in the playing category, can't believe it's been 9 years since Cards Against Humanity first came out.
No way.
So yeah, a month after it was released, it became the #1 game on Amazon. This was the 1.0 version, which no longer exists. At the time, it had 550 cards, 460 were black and 90 were white. This all started through a Kickstarter, which is like, wow, because I love it. How do you guys feel about it?
It started through Kickstarter, and you could actually download and print out the cards for free in the beginning. Yeah. They weren't even charging for it. It was donation only.
Isn't
you had
that
to
crazy?
cut them yourself and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I loved Cards Against Humanity when it came out. I don't think I played it in about 5 years, and I actually wonder if that game would be able to come out now. Is it I know it was marketed as being controversial and inappropriate, and I never felt like it was that bad, but I know that there've been some pockets of people finding it like really politically inappropriate from time to time. None of them really were taken seriously, but I wonder now if people would have a massive problem with Cards Against Humanity, or if it's like it is in my head, a game that is pretending to be more offensive than it actually is.
And it depends who you're playing it with. Because how you play the cards can make it more or less politically.
Yeah, it's kind of up to you, right?
Actually,
my parents always wanted to play it with me.
Yeah, I played with my family about 5 years ago, which would have been the last time, unless we did it at SourceFed. And it turns out my dad is just wicked. I didn't realize it. Like, he's such a really, really lovely, gentle man. But then he'd kind of put something down where it was like, I fucked your grandmother up the ass. And he'd be like, Dad! And he's like, oh. He just cleaned us up. It was amazing.
Sometimes it's kind of the best when someone who's very sweet gets behind a game like that only gives them the option to say things that are fucked up, and you see the side of them that they don't usually have. It's
that inner monologue where they're like, ugh, can I do
had it in you.
By the way, my example was awful because it meant that he was having sex with his own mum or stepmum or
Did
like
occur to me,
mother-in-law. Yeah, whoops.
Yes.
There you go. I just wanted to clarify
Messed
that.
up.
That was not
Nice
the
one,
example.
Dad.
That's just all like.
If you guys want to play now, you actually can. You can play right now. That's available. You can play online, even though we're all socially distancing. So keep that in mind. Yeah. Moving on to the watching category. It's a horror movie, but no, it's okay. It's all right, Ma. You're safe. Let's see. Here's a hint.
Oh,
good hint.
Friday the 13th. Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. So on May 9th, 1980, Friday the 13th came out. It currently has a 62% on the tomato meter.
10 years ago. I was like, that's older than that. What are you talking
Hold
about?
on. Wait a second. Yeah. No, it's been, I know math. That's not right. 50 years?
No. 1980?
40 years.
It's not 2030.
40.
That's math. What is math? So, yeah, it has a 60% audience.
Are you born in the 90s? That's why. Is that what? Yeah, there it is.
Time is just so weird. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of Friday the 13th, massive fan of horror movies, so can't believe it's been 40 years.
Yes. Well done. You were quick with that.
That's fun. And what's our blast from the past reading?
The first Hulk appearance happened in May of 1962, which it's a lot more years. Not going to do the math.
That is several years.
It's a lot. But yeah, created by writer Stan Lee, of course, and artist Jack Kirby. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been that long.
Maybe Stan Lee had a bad day, and he was like, "You don't want to see me angry."
Wait a second. There's something there. But yes, that's our blast from the past.
No way.
Cool. Alrighty.
Thank you so much, Amy. That was awesome.
Great little interview there with Alanah. Fantastic that we are able to do a blast from the past. The next thing that we'll be tackling is what Alanah is playing. But before we jump into that, goodbye, because this will be a self-contained segment on Geek Bomb.